Most people spend their entire lives chasing strength. They read about it, talk about it, and admire it in others. But here is something almost no one tells you. The people who actually carry the deepest, most unshakable inner strength are often completely unaware that they have it. They are not the loudest in the room. They are not the ones making grand declarations about how far they have come. They are quiet, steady, and real. And there is a very good chance that if you are over 70 today, you are already one of them without even knowing it. 70 years is not just a number. It is a story, a long, layered, sometimes beautiful and sometimes heartbreaking story that has shaped you in ways that go far deeper than most people around you will ever understand. The kind of strength that comes from living that story is not celebrated enough. It does not get attention on social media. It does not come with a certificate, but it is real, it is profound, and it is worth recognizing. So today, we are going to look at 5 signs of inner strength that are rarely talked about anywhere. Signs that may quietly describe exactly who you have become. Sign number 1. You have made peace with stillness and no longer fear being alone with your own thoughts. There is something that very few people talk about openly, and that is the quiet fear of being alone with oneself. For much of life, people stay busy almost on purpose. They fill every hour, every silence, and every empty moment with noise, activity, or distraction. And a large part of that busyness is simply a way of avoiding sitting too long with their own thoughts. Because sitting still means feeling things. It means facing questions that have no easy answers. It means being present with yourself, and for many people, that is one of the most uncomfortable places to be. But something genuinely remarkable happens in certain people as they grow older. They stop running from the quiet. They begin to find something in the stillness that they could never find in the noise. Not loneliness and not emptiness, but a kind of companionship with themselves that feels solid and honest. If you are someone who can now sit on a porch in the early morning, or rest in a quiet room without reaching for the television or the phone, and actually feel at ease in that silence, then you have developed something that most people never find at any age. This is not about being antisocial or withdrawn. It is about having done enough inner work that your own company no longer frightens you. A person who is at peace with their own thoughts is a person who knows themselves. And knowing yourself truly and honestly is one of the rarest and strongest things a human being can do. Sign number 2. You have quietly stopped keeping score of what others owe you. Most people carry a mental ledger somewhere inside them, a running record of who let them down, who didn't show up, who said something unkind, and who still owes them an apology. This ledger is rarely spoken about out loud, but it is there, and it quietly shapes how people feel about their relationships and their own lives. Carrying that ledger is exhausting, even when you do not realize how much energy it is taking. One of the most understated signs of deep inner strength is the gradual, genuine release of that scorekeeping. Not because the hurts were not real, not because you are pretending nothing happened, but because somewhere along the way, you made a quiet decision that your peace matters more than your record. You stopped measuring how much you gave against how much you received. You stopped waiting for people to acknowledge what you sacrificed. You let the account close, not because it balanced, but because you no longer needed it to. This is extraordinarily difficult, and very few people fully achieve it. If you find that you can think of someone who disappointed you without that familiar tightening in your chest, if you have stopped mentally rehearsing old arguments, and if you are living your days without a quiet list of grievances running in the background, then you are carrying a freedom inside you that most people will never fully know. Before we move on, I want to ask you a gentle question. Is there something you once held on to tightly, a hurt, a grudge, or an expectation that you eventually chose to release? And did that release bring you more peace than you expected? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this video is helping you, please like it, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the Wisdom Vault. Also, please watch until the very end, because the points ahead are just as important and may truly make a difference in your life. Sign number 3. You can now receive help and care without feeling diminished by it. There is a particular kind of pride that many strong, capable people carry through much of their lives, and it is the deep, almost instinctive resistance to accepting help. For decades, being capable meant doing things yourself. It meant not burdening others, not appearing weak, and not letting anyone see the moments when you were struggling. That kind of self-reliance is admirable in many ways, and it served you well for a long time. But it can also quietly become a wall that keeps genuine connection from reaching you. What very few people discuss is how much courage it actually takes to receive graciously, to let someone carry something for you without immediately apologizing for it, to accept care from a child, a friend, or a neighbor without turning it into a performance of gratitude meant to prove you are not really a burden, to say yes when someone offers to help, simply and warmly, without minimizing their kindness or rushing to return the favor before they have even left the room. There was a woman named Frances who spent most of her life being the strong one for everyone around her. She cooked, she organized, she showed up. But when her daughter began quietly driving her to appointments after her hip surgery, Frances found that accepting that help with a simple thank you and a genuine smile was one of the most vulnerable and meaningful things she had ever done. It didn't make her less strong, it made her more whole. If you have arrived at a place where you can receive care without it threatening your sense of who you are, then your inner strength has reached a depth that very few people ever find. Sign number 4. Small disruptions no longer have the power to unravel your entire day. Think back to a younger version of yourself and remember how a small thing going wrong could genuinely darken an entire day. A canceled plan, a careless comment, an unexpected delay, and suddenly hours of emotional energy were gone over something that barely deserved a minute. Many people spend decades living that way without realizing how much it costs them. But a person who has lived enough to develop real perspective begins to see small things for what they actually are. Not catastrophes, just inconveniences. Not personal attacks, just moments that pass. If minor frustrations now move through you quickly, without settling in the way they once did, that quiet steadiness is not something that came easily. It was earned through years of learning what truly deserves your energy and what simply does not. Sign number 5. You feel most fully yourself when no one is watching for much of life. Most people quietly perform. They shape themselves around what others expect, what looks acceptable, and what earns approval. Over time, that performance becomes so familiar, it can be mistaken for identity. One of the rarest signs of inner strength is that you have stopped performing. Your values do not change based on who is in the room. Your kindness is genuine, not calculated. And the person you are in a quiet, empty room is the same person who shows up everywhere else. That kind of wholeness is not common, and it does not happen by accident. If these 5 signs felt familiar today, let that mean something to you. The strength we talked about is not loud or obvious, but it is real and it is yours. It was built through decades of living honestly and showing up with courage, even when it was hard. Please like this video, share it with someone who deserves to feel seen, and subscribe to the Wisdom Vault. We are always here for you.